And continuing our coverage tonight of Donald Trump's second impeachment trial, here to shed some light on the upcoming proceedings is CSUB professor and 23 ABC political analyst, Dr. Ivy Cargile. Ivy, as always, such a pleasure to see you this evening. We want to go ahead and start off by going over the articles of impeachment that were actually drawn up against former President Trump. So can you explain what incitement of insurrection actually means?
In terms of incitement of insurrection, what we know about that, so the one thing about the U.S. Constitution is that to some degree it can be a bit vague. And so incitement of insurrection, I think one way to think about it is exactly what happened at the Capitol on January 6th, right? So the convincing or the telling of the American people that the electoral outcome was actually fraudulent, right? So for the previous 2 months prior to January 6th, the former president kept telling people that the electoral outcome was fraudulent and that the election was being stolen. Those words are words of incitement, making people think that that in fact their democracy is being stolen when that is not the case. Over 60 to 70 courts, some with judges that are Trump appointees, invalidated the cases that were brought before them because there was no actual evidence of fraud. So continuing to perpetuate a lie like that about the electoral system is a perfect example of what incitement of insurrection is, because then those words end up resulting in actual action where these individuals planned and stormed the Capitol and were actually looking to, one, hang the vice president, and two, kill a number of or murder a number of politicians who were in the state capitol doing their constitutional duty of indicating that the election, of certifying the electoral results from November.
And another question for you. Now that Donald Trump is no longer president, how does that change the upcoming trial?
Well, it changes the upcoming trial, because what you will not see this time around is that Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John Roberts, will not be presiding over the trial. Instead, it's going to be the oldest member of the Senate, who's going to be presiding over the trial. And also too, it's not really about you're not going to hear language about removing him from office, because obviously he's not president anymore. But what you are going to hear a lot about is about making sure that he doesn't ever have that the right to run for any other political office is taken away from him, as is stated in Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution.
And how likely is it that we'll see Trump get impeached in the now majority Democrat Senate?
I'm not in the business of prognosticating in any way, shape, or form, but I think what we have to keep in mind is that, and what we have to keep in mind, and what we hope that some of the Republican senators will fully and truly understand after all of the evidence is presented, is that accountability is needed. It is vital if our democracy is going to continue. Because if not, what we're going to see is these types of events happen over and over again. And the one thing that the United States has always prided itself in is that it is in the peaceful transfer of power as a result of the honoring of the voices of the votes of the people who showed up on election night. We can't just say that because I think that the election was stolen from me, that government officials that are carrying out their constitutional duties should overturn the election on my behalf. That's not the way a constitutional democracy works. And so I don't know if 17 Republicans will be on the right side of history, but one can hope.
All right, Ivy, thank you so much. As always, such a pleasure speaking with you.